The laughter started before Marcus Reed even reached the end of the hallway. He was pushing a yellow janitor's cart past the polished trophy cases at Willow Creek Academy when two parents glanced at his faded work shirt, then at the little girl walking beside him in a neat school uniform. One of them whispered something, the other smirked, and within seconds Marcus heard the words he had learned to pretend did not hurt: "Poor man, janitor, embarrassing." His 8-year-old daughter Emma heard them too. She lowered her eyes and tightened her grip around the strap of her backpack. Marcus said nothing. He simply kept walking, unaware that before the day was over, the principal would discover why this quiet janitor had once been considered one of the most promising engineers in the city, and why he had given it all up. If you believe kindness still matters, if you believe people deserve second chances even when life has taken everything from them, please like this video, leave a comment, share this story, and subscribe to Dad's Hope. Your support helps stories like this reach people who may need a reminder that someone's job title never tells you their whole story. Marcus had been working nights and early mornings at Willow Creek Academy for almost 2 years. He cleaned classrooms, repaired broken locks, replaced light fixtures, carried boxes for teachers, and made sure the building was warm before the first students arrived. Most people barely noticed him. Some greeted him kindly. Others treated him like part of the furniture. Marcus did not mind being invisible most days. What mattered was that the job came with steady hours, health insurance, and a tuition reduction that allowed Emma to attend the school. Willow Creek was one of the best private schools in the district, the kind of place Marcus never could have afforded on his current salary. He accepted every sideways glance and every quiet insult because each one bought his daughter another day in a classroom where she could dream bigger than the life they had been given. 3 years earlier, Marcus had lived a completely different life. He had been a senior structural engineer at a respected firm, earning more money than he had ever imagined as a child. He and his wife, Rachel, had bought a modest home, started a college fund for Emma, and believed they finally had stability. Then Rachel became ill. The diagnosis came quickly, and the bills came even faster. Marcus used every vacation day, then every savings account, then every line of credit he had. He began missing meetings to sit beside Rachel during treatments. His firm tried to be patient, but deadlines continued moving. Eventually, Marcus resigned before they had to fire him. He told himself he would return to engineering when Rachel recovered. She never did. After Rachel died, Marcus could barely function. Emma was only 5. She woke at night asking for her mother. Marcus spent months moving through life like a man underwater. The mortgage fell behind. The college fund disappeared into medical debt. By the time Marcus was emotionally ready to work again, his professional network had moved on and his confidence had collapsed. He took temporary jobs, then maintenance work, then the janitorial position at Willow Creek because it allowed him to stay close to Emma and gave them something dependable. Emma knew her father cleaned the school, but she had never been ashamed of him until other people taught her that she was supposed to be. That Friday was the school's annual Family Achievement Day. Parents were invited to visit classrooms and attend a reception honoring students with strong academic records. Marcus had arranged his schedule so he could finish cleaning the East Wing early and change clothes before joining Emma. But a pipe burst near the science lab just before the event began. Marcus spent nearly an hour helping stop the leak and cleaning the water before it damaged the floor. By the time he arrived at Emma's classroom, his shirt was still damp and his hands smelled faintly of disinfectant. Several parents were dressed in expensive suits and designer coats. Marcus stood near the back, smiling as Emma presented a small bridge she had built for a science project. She had spent 3 weeks designing it from craft sticks and glue. When the teacher announced that Emma's bridge held more weight than any other project in the class, Marcus felt pride rise in his chest so quickly it almost hurt. Then a father standing nearby looked at Marcus's uniform and joked loudly that Emma must have learned construction from watching her dad fix toilets. A few people laughed. Emma's smile disappeared. Marcus felt every instinct in his body tell him to respond, but he stopped himself. He had spent years teaching Emma that dignity did not depend on what people said about you. If he lost his temper now, he would teach her something else. He walked over, crouched beside her project, and told her he was proud of the way she had reinforced the center span. Emma looked surprised. Marcus gently explained that distributing the load across the triangular supports was exactly why her bridge had performed so well. The teacher stared at him. So did several parents. Marcus spoke naturally, pointing out 2 small improvements Emma could make if she ever built another version. The principal, Dr. Helen Carter, happened to be standing near the classroom entrance. She had been listening. Dr. Carter had worked at Willow Creek only 6 months and knew Marcus mainly as the quiet employee who always solved maintenance problems without complaint. She stepped closer and asked where he had learned so much about structural design. Marcus tried to brush it off, but Emma answered before he could. She proudly told the principal that her father used to design real buildings. The room went quiet. Dr. Carter asked Marcus for his full name. When he told her, something changed in her expression. She repeated it slowly, as if trying to place it. Then she left the room without explanation. Marcus assumed the conversation was over. He stayed beside Emma while the students finished their presentations. But 20 minutes later, Dr. Carter returned carrying a tablet. She had searched his name. Years earlier, Marcus Reed had been part of the engineering team responsible for the redesign of a major children's hospital after an earthquake safety review. His work on the building's structural reinforcement had been published in professional journals. He had also received an Engineering Association award for developing a cost-saving reinforcement method later used in several public buildings. Dr. Carter recognized the hospital immediately because her own nephew had received treatment there. The man several parents had been mocking for pushing a mop had helped design a building where thousands of children had been treated safely. Dr. Carter asked Marcus why he had never mentioned any of this. Marcus looked at Emma before answering. He explained that losing his wife had changed what mattered to him. He had not chosen janitorial work because he was incapable of doing more. He had chosen the job because, at the time, it was the work that allowed him to raise his daughter, pay his bills, and remain present in her life. He said he hoped one day to return to engineering, but he refused to measure his worth by whether that happened. No one laughed anymore. The father who had made the toilet joke looked down at the floor. But Dr. Carter was not finished. Willow Creek had been planning a major renovation of its science and technology building, and the school board had been struggling with rising construction costs. She asked Marcus whether he would be willing to review some preliminary plans as a paid consultant. Marcus hesitated. It had been years since anyone had asked him to use the part of himself he thought he had lost. Emma looked up at him with a smile so full of belief that he could not say no. Over the next several weeks, Marcus spent his mornings maintaining the school and his evenings reviewing plans. His instincts returned faster than he expected. He found unnecessary structural expenses, suggested a safer laboratory layout, and proposed changes that saved the school hundreds of thousands of dollars. The board eventually offered him a formal role overseeing facilities development, a position that combined his practical knowledge of the school with his engineering background. Marcus did not become a different person when his title changed. He still carried his own boxes. He still stopped to help custodians when something spilled. He still reminded Emma that every honest job deserved respect. What changed most was Emma. A few months later, her class was asked to write about someone they admired. Emma wrote about her father. She did not focus on the buildings he had designed or the award he had once won. She wrote about the nights he packed her lunch after cleaning classrooms for 10 hours, the mornings he braided her hair even when he was exhausted, and the way he never spoke badly about people who looked down on him. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who may need this reminder, and subscribe to Dad's Hope. Sometimes the person being overlooked today may be carrying a story of sacrifice, talent, and strength that no one around them has taken the time to understand. Before we end, Please comment, respect every honest job, if you believe a person's value should never be judged by their uniform, salary, or title. Years later, Marcus would tell Emma that Family Achievement Day was not the moment his life changed. His life had changed many times before that, when Rachel became ill, when he lost his career, when he took the janitorial job, and every morning he chose to keep going despite feeling like the world had forgotten who he once was. The principal discovering his past simply reminded him of something grief had made him forget: the man who designed buildings had never disappeared. He had just become a father first. And to Emma, that had always been the most important title he could ever have.